Welcome back to the channel, Racer X here, and today I want to talk a little bit about Dodge, their Demon 170, and an article that was recently put out by MotorTrend talking about what Dodge is doing to try and curb some of this insane, ridiculous dealer markup that's happening with its dealer networks. It's a really strange dynamic. There's a lot of stuff happening behind the scenes. Today I will tell you all about what is really going on with that. If you're brand new to my channel, please do me a big gigantic favor. Don't forget to hit subscribe. You can also hit that notification bell so you're notified when my new content comes out, and off we go.
T-minus 15 seconds.
So when Dodge first started teasing this car, I automatically knew that it was going to open up Pandora's box in terms of what the dealerships were going to do to Dodge's end consumer. I mean, all the way back at Speed Week, they were talking about this thing being a record breaker. And then, of course, they gave us all these teasers, and they've been building up all of this hype. We can't go buy directly from Dodge themselves. We have to buy through their dealer network. And, man, unprecedented dealer markup is kind of what I thought was going to happen. And now that the car is actually available to order, that is exactly what is happening. We're seeing basically a base price of just under $100,000. And then dealerships are getting these allocations and they are charging customers anywhere from like $100,000 to $300,000 over sticker price. First of all, it's insane that people are paying that. But once again, there's enough people out there with more money than sense, and that is what is happening out there. But it really is a shame because the vast majority of Dodge's core enthusiasts are being priced completely out of the market. And really, I think this car served to make a lot more people upset than it did add any sort of credibility for Dodge. Now, the MotorTrend article that was recently released basically talked about the fact that Dodge is trying to do what they can to protect the end consumer from these insane dealer markups. And by doing that, they said, hey, look, anybody that gets their car at MSRP, they are going to get their build order kind of moved up, right? So if you have an MSRP allocation, and the dealer is giving you the car at MSRP, Dodge will go ahead and get those moved up in the build order because they don't know how many cars they're really going to get to build. And I've had multiple conversations with multiple people. I really don't think that they're going to get around to building 3,000 US cars. I know there's 300 for Canada. I don't think they're going to get to make that many. I think they're going to have supply chain issues with getting that many of that C170 engine built. I don't see it happening in terms of them making 3,000 cars. So the people with the most markup are the least likely to actually get their cars. But dealerships are pulling dealership moves. And I know this for a fact because I have talked to a lot of people that tried to get the Demon 170. And they have called literally all over the entire country. I mean, multiple, like hundreds of dealerships. Some of these people have called looking for an allocation, and the least they've been able to find, 100,000 over MSRP. And that is if they're lucky. In many cases, dealerships are 200, 250. As I mentioned, there's even a dealership here in the Tampa area that has 10 allocations that wants 300,000 over MSRP for these. And the interesting thing is the article goes on to say that a lot of the cars that came in, the build sheets, all that kind of stuff that showed up were at MSRP. So there's something more going on here. Now, when you go to spec out a Demon 170, you have to sign a waiver. It's kind of like the Demon back in 2018. They basically tell you, hey, look, this is basically a drag car, and there's all these stipulations. And on this particular car, it tells you lots of things. It tells you, hey, look, this thing comes with drag radials on it. At least the Demon in 2018, they give you street tires. This one basically comes with just the drag tires on it. So they tell you not to drive it in the rain. Make sure you put good fuel in it, all this other stuff. Make sure you check the tires before you drive it. This is basically a race car that you're driving. And I think most people that are going to buy this car, they pretty much understand that. But at the bottom of that waiver, there's basically two check boxes, and you're supposed to check one of them. One says you're buying this car at MSRP. The other says you are not. It is simple as that. And according to this article, Dodge claims through a spokesperson that they had 1,000 orders come in on the very first day, 63% of which were MSRP orders. Well, That seems really odd considering I have talked to literally hundreds of people that want a Demon 170. They've called all over the country, as I mentioned, and nobody can come even close to MSRP on these. So obviously what's happening is dealerships are telling customers, hey, look, if you don't check the no box in terms of, are you getting the MSRP, right? Are you yes for MSRP? Or you may not get your car because they just might not build enough, whatever else. If you want an early allocation, that kind of stuff, you have to check that box. I don't believe there are any other checks and balances in place other than the fact they're taking their word for it. And whatever you're asking, either the general public or dealerships, taking their word for it, that is a recipe for disaster, because the truth of the matter is that the vast majority, I mean the vast majority of people are not getting these cars at MSRP. I would hazard to say like 99% of people are paying well over MSRP and just being told to check that box. Now the other thing, and the way dealerships are skating around this, I believe, is they are throwing on $150,000 nitrogen packages onto their car. Yes, you can have MSRP. However, we have to charge you a cleaning and a nitrogen fill-up fee or something like that, and it's 150 grand. So yeah, you're getting MSRP, and the customer goes along with it because they know, first of all, they have the money, and second of all, they know if they don't check the box saying they're getting an MSRP, they may not get it at all. So that's the real truth of it. A lot of shady stuff happening behind the scenes, and this effort from Dodge is literally just going by the wayside. It means nothing. Now, I want to just mention this because I really feel like this car might be hurting Dodge, as I mentioned, more than it's helping. I believe the car is very, very cool, but there are an awful lot of enthusiasts out there that are being completely alienated by this entire dealer markup, this practice that's being allowed to happen out there. And this, what Dodge is doing here, isn't doing anything to kind of deter the dealers from just gouging the customer to ridiculous ends. That's the truth of it. And you know what's really happening is this is going to end up in the hands of basically collectors, people with more money than sense, maybe in the hands of just people who want to invest and turn the car right around. But the majority of people that are going to take this thing out and race it and enjoy it for what it is, they will not be able to get this car. And that is really sad. That's not the spirit of Dodge, anything like that. I think that's what makes so many people angry, is should this end up in somebody's hands who's just going to go sit it in some garage somewhere, it's going to be a paperweight? Or should it be in the hands of somebody that's going to go shred the tires on it, let it be seen? I mean, that is what this brand is all about. That's why they made this car. And Dodge, I have to say it, they should have done a lot more. I mean, I feel like Dodge could choose where they send their cars to, because there are some dealerships that are a lot more reasonable. I've called around, I've done my research, I know of some dealerships that are way more reasonable than a lot of these guys that just go super crazy. They should not be allowed to do this to Dodge's customer. I'm sorry. I mean, Dodge has worked for decades, to build its loyal fan base. And a lot of them, I'm not talking about just Demon owners. I'm not talking about, I mean, a lot of the loyal Dodge people are very, very upset at these unprecedented markups that are occurring right now. And dealerships are finding ways to skate around this. And Dodge has to get more invasive. Now, as many of you know, I have been very outspoken about this whole dealer markup thing. I've always felt like it's a very unfair practice. You're really penalizing the end consumer. And my biggest gripe has always been, look, you know what? If you can go onto a website and you can spec it out, it shows up at the dealership. It's got the sticker right on it where everybody can see it. And they hide under this guise of suggested. And then they won't let you buy it for that. And they charge you just insane amounts over what that should be. I've always felt like that's a very unfair practice, but it really does all start with the manufacturer. And Tesla, they have their act together, because if you go in one Tesla store, you pay the exact same amount for a car as you do when you go into another Tesla store. And guess what? There is no price gouging with those guys. They simply don't allow it. Now, Ford took one step on their e-business line, so any of their new, EVs and stuff like that, go through their e-business line, and they're kind of moving that same direction. Look, fixed pricing, you don't like it, tough crap, you can't sell the EVs. But it's moving very, very slowly, and it is very possible that in the future, all the dealers are basically service centers, because you still need dealerships out there to service these cars. You have to have that in place. But I think the vast majority, like 98%, of end consumers are absolutely sick of this whole markup thing, all the games that dealerships play, all the kind of stuff like that. And I don't just want to turn this into a complete dealer bashing session, but when 98% of your customer base, they don't like you, that is a problem. I mean, that's what I've always said. And so something has to be done. They have to fix this one way or another. Because Dodge, I mean, like I said, they've worked for decades to build this loyal following, like this group of core enthusiasts, and it's huge. And right now, a lot of them are really, really upset about what's going on with this unprecedented markup. And just, it's like dangling a carrot in front of somebody saying, here we go, you can have it. No, you can't really have this because we're pricing you out of the market. Yeah, Dodge has to do more than just say, oh, you know, build order, all that kind of stuff. They're finding ways around that. That's the truth of it. And I hope that Dodge finds more ways to, and not just take people at their word, because we know how that works. We see how it's working, but yeah, they got to do more. So the Demon 170, very controversial in many ways. Will it run 8-second quarter miles? That remains to be seen. The car itself, very, very cool. Everything else happening around the car is really not good for Dodge as far as I'm concerned. Like I said, I think the car itself will be cool when people get it. Everybody's going to say ooh and ah about the car. Awesome stuff. But did Dodge shoot themselves in the foot with kind of how they marketed the car, how they wanted Demon owners to get these and most can't, letting their dealerships completely rake their consumers over the coals? A lot to be kind of digested with this whole thing. I would love to hear your comments. I feel like I should get a lot of comments on this video. Let me know what you guys think. You guys know where I stand on this. I'm as frustrated as you are on a lot of it, guys. I would love to see this car in the hands of people that are going to enjoy it the right way. That is my biggest thing as an advocate for the car community, as an enthusiast. You guys know me. I love to drag race. I would love to have one of these Demons. It's a tough deal. So anyway, guys, let me know what you think, and I will catch you on the next one. So until then, Racer X.